your man, Louie T. Welcome to the 2018 NFL Draft Prospects 101 series, your guide to some of the biggest and hottest names of the 2018 NFL Draft. We're talking wide receivers, and this next guy is one of the bigger wide receiver prospects in this draft. Literally, one of the biggest. A guy that is a lot bigger than some of the other names that'll go off the board in this draft very early. He's one of the few guys that offers you some size, a little bit of speed, and the ability to make plays on the football, which is why he's going to hear his name relatively early in the first 2 rounds of the NFL Draft. I'm talking about SMU wide receiver Courtland Sutton. We're going to talk about this guy, what he brings to the table, his size, and how that is going to allow him to make plays at the next level. And we'll start with his pros. So obviously, when you're talking Courtland Sutton, one of the biggest things he has going for him is his measurables. 6'3", 218 pounds. Again, in a draft class, and this is rare for the receiver position over the last couple of years, we've seen an influx of bigger receivers over the last 4 or 5 years. A lot of these guys with some size on them, 6'2", 6'3", 6'4", coming into the league. Not all of them have panned out, but we've seen guys with a little bit of size coming into the league. Not necessarily the case this year with a lot of guys that are 5'10", 5'11", 6 foot even. Here's a guy at 6'3", 218 pounds, which the measurables, you gotta love that because it gives you that size. And in a league now that's turning to the back shoulder fade and having quarterbacks throw guys open based off of their size, this is a guy that fits into that category, and his measurables gives him a leg up on some of the competition and some of his peers in this draft as well. Hands. I think he catches the football well. Does he have some drops on tape? Yep, he does, and that's a little alarming at times, but more often than not, he comes down with the football. So I don't think his hands are something I need to bang him for, but it is something that you can't be certain that on a 3rd and 7, he didn't take his eye off the football and doesn't give you a drop. I can't guarantee you that that won't be the case, but more times than not, he's gonna catch the football. His hands are good enough to get the job done at the next level. Speed, 4.54 speed at the 40 at the combine. To me, for his size, that's a really good time. Okay, when you're talking 6'3", 220 pounds essentially, to run a 4.54. Are you kidding me? With that kind of size and that ability, that officially classifies him as a height, weight, speed specimen. So that's good speed for a guy that's 6'3", 218 pounds. And you see that speed on tape 2016 versus South Florida. And again, in a lot of games, you see Courtland Sutton running deep. They ran him on a lot of go routes, a lot of 9 balls, a lot of deep posts. So you got to see him open up at times, and against South Florida, he had a monster game, over 200 yards receiving in that ball game, and there are a number of deep balls where he just ran and went and got to open up, and you got to see him run. And that game in 2016 versus South Florida is a great example of him opening up and showing you that 4.54 40. Physicality, 18 reps of 2 1/4. Longer arm guys, which he's 6'3", so he's probably gonna have longer arms. So usually tough for them to get up a number of reps, and 18 isn't bad for a guy that's 6'3". So that's solid physicality in terms of reps in the weight room, and then you see it produce itself and manifest itself onto the field, as he's not afraid to go over the middle of the football field. He's not afraid to catch it in traffic. So that's something else that he brings to the table from a physicality standpoint. Toughness, same thing, same deal. Physical guy, plays in just about every game. You know what you're getting from him. He's a guy that's going to go up, make plays on the football, not afraid of taking a hit from a safety. He will toss little corners around if need be. That also does get him in trouble from time to time, but the physicality and the toughness is there with Courtland Sutton. Run after the catch. He actually, for a big guy, has a little bit of run after the catch ability, and I wasn't expecting that when I turned on the tape. I expected a big straight line guy that didn't have any shakes or wiggles to him, and I was wrong. And if you turn on the 2017 game versus Houston, there's a catch on a simple hitch where they're just trying to get it to him quick, and they do. And he cuts back on about 3 guys in a row. Sticks his foot in the ground, cuts back. Sticks his foot in the ground, cuts back. Sticks his foot in the ground, and makes about 2 or 3 guys miss. and an impressive about 9 or 12 yard gain, and you say to yourself in a situation like that, whoa, where did that come from? I didn't know you had that capability. And so he brings some of that to the table, and that's pretty impressive for a guy his size. So there is a little bit of run after the catch ability with Courtland Sutton, and so that's pretty impressive if you ask me. Leaping ability and the ability to high point the football, you better be able to do this if you're 6'3", okay? Once we classify you as a big receiver, and usually when you get to the 6'2" and maybe, you know, 6'2 and a half, and I don't want to get too specific in terms of size. Once you get to 6'2", that's when we start talking big receiver, okay? Anything north of 6'1" is a big receiver. You get to the 6'3", 6'4", 6'5" territory, you better be high pointing the football. You better be going up, using your size to elevate over the competition and go get the football, because your size demands that you do that. And he has the ability to do that. There's a great catch, a ridiculous sideline grab versus Tulane where he was just showing off. And that's what he brings to the table. The ability to go up and get the football in traffic, high pointed at its peak, and come down with the football. And so when you can do that, you have the ability to make some special plays, and you have an ability to be on the field at all times when that is something that you bring to the table. And that's what Courtland Sutton brings to the table, is the ability to high point the football. And when you can get up at 6'3" and go and get it, that's big. That's big time for a quarterback. Catch radius, that kind of goes hand in hand with what I just said. The ability to go up, extend away from the frame. Because you're 6'3", quarterbacks feel a little bit more comfortable throwing it up because they know that corner can't quite get to where you can. So they're going to throw it up and give you an opportunity. You got to be able to extend away from the frame and go get it. He can do that. So the catch radius, definitely a big time plus for Courtland Sutton. Ball tracking, he goes and gets it. All right, there are a couple of times on tape where you're like, you didn't track that one as well as I would have liked you to, but he goes and gets the football. I talked about the ridiculous catch on the sidelines versus Tulane. He's got the ability to go get it. They threw him the deep ball a ton at SMU, and he went and got a ton of them. His ball tracking is just fine. I like his ability to go and get it in the air. Versatility, it's okay. It's good enough. The versatility that you get with Courtland Sutton is basically from his height. It's from his ability to win a route when he's not open, and to throw a back shoulder fade, to throw it up in the end zone and have him climb the ladder. That's more so with the versatility you get with him. He's not a slot guy. He's not running back kicks or anything of that nature, but you can move him around a little bit. He's, again, not going to be in the slot per se, but he won in the slot at SMU, believe it or not. So he can give you that, and we've seen the league from time to time go from small receiver to big receiver. I think we're in the small receiver mode right now, but remember, not too long ago, the Eagles featured Jordan Matthews in the slot, and he won a ton. So you never know what teams are deciding to do in the slot. He does offer you some versatility there if you want to tap into it. Sideline awareness, Tulane, Logitech, both of those games, he offered you the ability to see him catch it on the sidelines. I talked about the ridiculous Tulane catch. Also against Louisiana, great catch on the sidelines, knew where he was, got both feet in bounds, and maintained possession going to the ground. So these are all things that you like from a big body receiver by the sidelines. Dependability and clutchness. He was the guy at SMU first and foremost. So you knew he was going to be the guy in critical situations to get the football. And on a 3rd and 14 versus Tulane in a shootout in a big game in the conference, you got to have those. He was able to make a diving grab on a 3rd and 14 late in that game to move the sticks in a game that they ultimately won. And that was a big play in that game. So again, when I need it, when I got to have it, can you produce it? Yes, the answer is yes with Courtland Sutton. Production. He had massive production at SMU. What was a lot of it bubbles, hitches, comebacks, that sort of thing. Yeah, it was. I'm not going to lie to you. But there were some big balls down the field. It was him making some plays, but a lot of it was easy pitch and catch. A lot of it was easy. I mean, don't think routes where you didn't even run routes necessarily. It was just, hey, go run 8 yards, stop. Go run 7 yards and come back to the football. All right, so there's a lot of those routes. So you didn't really get to see him as a route runner, which we'll get to. But nonetheless, production was off the charts at SMU. So you go from those pros to to some of his cons, let's talk about Courtland Sutton and some of the things that he's going to have to work on at the next level. Quickness and suddenness. These aren't things that I see with Courtland Sutton as a route runner. And so let's put these next 3 cons together. I just want to go ahead and lump them together. Quickness, suddenness, acceleration, and route running ability. These are things that I think somewhat lacks because of his size and his movement skills. He's not a guy that's going to break anybody off, stem them at the top of a route, and really leave them. And because of that, you find that guys are in his hip pocket at times, and the acceleration, that aspect, when he opens up, he can go. And so you get the acceleration when he gets to build up speed, but he's a build up speed guy. He's not a 0 to 60 guy in 4 steps. He needs 7 steps, 8 steps to really get going. And once he revs it up, then you get the acceleration. But in short areas, which kind of lends itself to quickness, suddenness, he just doesn't have it. So with that being said, those underneath routes, guys are right there in his hip pocket a lot of times. Guys are right there on the comeback. Guys are right there on the speed cut. Guys are right there on the slant, because he can't separate from them with quickness because they're not buying what he's selling. So again, I think because of those things, his route running isn't the greatest. He ran a great double move versus Tulsa and was able to get free. But for the most part, his route running isn't something that's going to wow you. And because of the lack of quickness and suddenness and acceleration in and out of breaks and cuts, he got a bunch of OPIs on tape, and I had to bang him for that. I really had to knock him down, because at the next level, he's going to incur a lot of those. He pushed off a ton, and he makes it obvious. It's one thing when you get away with the subtle little elbow. I'm going to give you a little piece of this elbow, give me a little bit of space to create that separation. But he's full out two-hand chuck pushing guys, and it's getting flagged. And if it's getting flagged at the collegiate level where you can pretty much assault guys and get away with it, he's really going to get knocked at the next level. They're gonna call that OPI on him. So I saw it on tape. I saw it get called, and that's something that was alarming. So, and it stems from him being a big guy and just not being able to separate. And I think that's going to be one of his biggest issues at the next level. And you don't have to separate necessarily to win all the time when you're that size. You can use your size. If you know how to use your body, which he does, to box guys out, and you should be fine in certain situations if the quarterback puts it in a position where you can use your body to shield the defender away from the football. Blocking. I would like him to be better as a blocker. You're 6'3", 220. I would like you to block better, but he doesn't. I want more effort from him. You should be better at blocking with your size and length. I'm not asking for you to move guys and deposit them into the sidelines, onto the bench. I'm just asking for you to get in the way and be an effective barrier between man and ball. And you're not doing that enough for me as a blocker. And so I just want to see him be a little bit better as a blocker. So with that being said, that's Courtland Sutton in a nutshell. I think this guy brings a lot to the table, has some good size, gives you the ability to throw it up and have him go get it. He can run, and if you give him a chance off the line of scrimmage to run and get into his route, he can accelerate away from defenders. So he can make some plays. He offers you a different look and a different dynamic than a lot of these receivers in this draft, especially the ones that are going to go off the board early in a draft where there are a bunch of diminutive receivers. Courtland Sutton is a change of pace and a breath of fresh air in this draft, and I think someone's going to draft him just off of his sheer size and capabilities in the 2018 NFL Draft. But that's Courtland Sutton in his Draft Prospects 101 breakdown. Go to the site louietnetwork.net to see where he lands within the pantheon of wide receivers and his rating, and see where he lands among prospects that I've broken down in general. But in any event, I'm your man Louie T. Plenty more receivers to come, so don't go anywhere. I'll see you next time. And if you haven't already done so, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share it. I'll see you next time. Have a good one.